Oh, hello, my fellow chess enthusiasts. We are back at it again with another educational and epic game of chess where we play c6 no matter what. Today we're playing a casual game where we are going to transition into the Caro-Kann. One of the reasons that I always play c6 is, if we look at the structure right now, I don't want to take too long explaining, but this is the Caro-Kann, although it started with d4 instead of e4. And so that's one of the reasons that I like playing c6 no matter what. There is a small percent chance where we're just going to accept this. He wants like a super lead in development. It's like, bro, now you're down a pawn. So you're going to have to prove how sacrificing that pawn was actually a good idea. And I can almost guarantee you it wasn't a good idea. Because, like, yes, he does. Check this out. He's going to have 4 pieces developed essentially immediately. I would have been slightly more active here. I think we just go ahead and push. This guy is pinned. We just scoot back, right? I could just trade, but then he gets to bring his queen out, and I basically traded my bishop for this guy for no good reason. And we're into a game of chess right now. Again, he makes a move that's not super powerful or anything. I guess I'm slightly worried about all of this. I could just jump my knight to the middle. And then I'm essentially attacking this, so he has to trade something off. But you know what? Basic chess principles. Develop another piece before you move the same piece twice. So I already moved this knight once. I would rather develop another piece than move this knight twice. Because if you look at this, he has his third rank stacked with pieces. And so I think I can develop my queen with a little bit of tempo and also laterally defend this again. I feel like this seems to make sense. I guess it's not really with tempo, but my queen is over here. He might waste the move and scoot the king over, even though the knight does defend this. Yes, so the knight already defended that pawn, but essentially, because he has this huge lead in development, I could go ahead and pin this and castle this side, but he's got really easy ideas to advance his everything. So we're going to just same side castle, I believe. I think that seems to make sense. This diagonal kind of sucks, so I got to bring my bishop out here to protect this diagonal, because this is a huge, open, weak diagonal for my king, because I went ahead and have pushed the c pawn. So I might have to waste a move on stepping on over, but I'm still up a pawn. So yet again, we're in this situation where he's going to have to really prove to me that giving up that pawn for the lead in development is what he needed. And what he was supposed to do, I don't want to critique him yet because we're still in the middle of the game or whatever and I haven't won, but when you sacrifice a pawn for activity, you need to be active. And putting your pieces on the third rank on your side of the board is not super active. He needed to be trying to advance stuff forward, okay? Because now, more or less, you know, I'm one move away from being essentially equaled in development. Okay, so he's got some ideas of all this. What if I just jump in? Ooh, what if I jump in like this? And then if take, or I could take this way and maybe that slightly defends me a little bit. What's better here? Well, I'm getting the sense that I'm going to get attacked on this side of the board. So I kind of like the idea of bringing this knight. And it kind of forces a trade. Like if he doesn't take me, I'm going to take him. So essentially this is like forcing a trade. You can move back, but then I'm just going to get rid of your dark square bishop. So essentially he has to take. In which case, I might bring my pawn over here, where it will sort of aid in another layer of defense. I could even take with the queen. That's kind of interesting, and it blockades this pawn for a second. I mean, taking like this really opens my king up. That's kind of asking for it. And whenever this pawn moves, I mean, okay, we've got options. What am I supposed to do here? What's the correct move? I like taking here. I like taking here, although it cuts this off. Taking with the queen maintains the defense of my bishop. And what if I take with the queen? Does he just come through and just bop me on the head? Don't know if I love that. We're going to take like this. This guy is now undefended. We will scoot back. I'm not even going to think about it. Obviously, we had to do that. He takes. And which is more correct here? If I take here, I get the open H file attacking this pawn. Not sure that that's really all that great. I kind of like the idea of just taking here. We're going to go for this. His knight can get in and immediately threaten this fork, which kind of sucks. I think potentially we just scoot this forward and we take away the general idea. Here's a few different reasons. I want to defend this square and I want to be able to put a rook here. So we're going to do it. Maybe this would have made more sense actually, because he could grab this diagonal and then my king is kind of cut off. And my queen is now not doing anything by herself over here. So I should probably figure out a way to like get back into the action. And I would be a lot happier if I was able to just like boop, boop, and my king was over here. If my king was all of a sudden on this square, I feel very safe because the knight is really far away from being able to attack me. It's a dark square bishop, so basically this diagonal is what we need to be worried about. I mean, essentially, I don't think that this can be a bad move. We just put our rook on the same file as the queen. Do I step over now? I was mentioning how much I liked that. I think stepping over. I'm not sure if that's actually super accurate or what. Also, my knight is kind of stopping this knight. So what am I supposed to do? Maybe I bring my other rook here. You know what? I think I kind of like this, and then I could even bring my knight back here and like force a big trade over here. We're going to just go for it. The knight could come in. The knight could come in. And I don't... Okay, immediately that is what is going on in the position. If we do see that, though, I can jump in. And then if take... Okay, so we're just not going to allow that. Just plain and simple. We're not going to allow that. You don't really want to be making retreating moves. What if I just bring my queen here? Then I take with a pawn? I mean, then I'm defending it? What do you guys think? These are always like the hardest parts of chess. What about like infiltrating like this? Does that make any sense? It is a retreating move, but it's a retreating move with the idea of getting my queen onto this square. Chess is crazy how easily the queen can just like get over there and pressure stuff on this side of the board. We're doing it. We're doing it. This pawn push, are we scared of it? I'm not 100% sure. But we take away this diagonal. We are maintaining it with my queen. I absolutely hate this knight because it's basically making my knight do the defending. This would be really nice. Just get rid of this. And he could like step back with the idea of bringing this. Okay, so he attacks the pawn. This gets a little bit scary. If I step over, then I'm putting my king in the same diagonal. I could also attack. Like, boom. Defend this like that. Boom, 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 boom. Then we're in just a gnarly endgame where I think it's more or less even. This might coax a little queen trade, but that greatly weakens my position. If I just step over, if we see something like this, I mean, we take. If I take, then he takes back, and then I have time to step over one more time. Then he hits my queen. You know what? This might make more sense. I think it'll offer a potential queen trade. And greatly weaken my position. But the reason that I'm willing to do this move and like greatly weaken my position is if we see this, then okay, but it pushed his queen back. Now we're a little bit worried about all of this. So let's just bring the king. Let's just take the time to just scoot the king up. That was kind of the whole idea. We've got like a more or less secure position on this side. My king is a little bit safer. Slowly advancing, I would say. Like, we got some pawns moving forward. But we still got a lot of chess left to play. This is by no means over. Okay, making another weird queen move. I mean, we can't push this yet. Push a pawn. When in doubt, I don't know what to do. I want to trade something. I want to trade something. And, like, this is my extra pawn, essentially. Or this one, however you want to look at it. One of these pawns are my extra pawns. And so, 3 minutes. 3 minutes to show my opponent. That opening, you got to be really sure when you sacrifice a pawn for activity. You got to be, like, an active type player. And I just don't feel like, I mean, like, if we look at this position, nothing is on my side of the board. And I also have nothing on his side of the board. I also didn't check our opponent's ability. So it looks like he doesn't play bullet. He's pretty good at blitz. He's far better at blitz than me. I think my blitz rating is like 1,700 or 1,800. And yeah, so he's pretty good at rapid. Pretty good at blitz. So I think getting low on the clock is not really in my favor at all. Sometimes it's like an advantage. I'm thinking of doubling up. I literally don't know what to do. This was the idea, right? We come in here. We're attacking this pawn. We kind of add some pressure. We pin the knight. We're doing it. We're doing it. That was the whole idea of doing this little queen reroute. Now I've got a piece on his side of the board. It is my queen. Is my queen too far advanced on the opponent's side of the board? Am I just going to get rattled around and potentially captured? Or just ejected? But I am attacking this pawn. And if I grab that pawn, I'm probably going to grab this pawn. And if I grab both of these pawns, then all of a sudden, I've got a 3 on nothing, and my chances of winning skyrocket. So this pawn is actually very important, because it's the defender of this pawn, and these two pawns together are stopping this from happening. Fairly certain we're going to have to trade the queens here. I don't even want to spend any time thinking about this. We're going to trade the queens here. He has to step back. We then trade a rook, correct? We're still playing defense of this knight. This knight wants to go to these same 2 squares. All of a sudden, this is never going to get attacked by the queen anymore because the queen is gone. If I step over like this, I mean, I feel like that's what we have to do. Here, here, here. I think we're just going to go for it. I'm still a pawn up. So essentially, if we can trade the rooks and go into a bishop and knight endgame, I think my chances suddenly are a little bit better. Okay. We can give him a passed pawn that necessarily won't be easy to take or hard to take. I don't know what to think about that. If he jumps in, not even going to question it. Same here. If he goes here, we are just going to take it. I think potentially we go here. Oh my god, 1 minute and 20 seconds. Definitely should be playing faster. I can make a passed pawn essentially over here. He would push forward. Maybe I push here, then push here, then push here. Like boom, 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 boom. And then I can make a passed pawn on this side of the board. That's my new plan. King over here. Passed pawn and bring a king. Okay. That threatens this. Once he gets there, I need to defend this pawn like this. He can eject me like that. Here, here, into the position. He steps back. How do I defend that? Here, here, and then I can move it forward. Let's do that. He jumps in, attacking this, but then I push it forward. Then maybe like go like this and just have like a rock solid position over here. Okay, he steps back. We're going to do this. That was probably stupid. I needed to be like creating a passed pawn over here, and I totally didn't. I want to bring my king. I could potentially go like this as well. Scoot up real quick. And I'm just afraid of his knight moving forward, is the truth. We're going to go here. Allow this check. Step over here. Yep. Yep. And I'm gonna go for this. Boom, boom. Is the game plan. Potentially we trade this bishop off. I don't really think he wants to allow that. 37 seconds. He might try and flag me. Okay, we're gonna trade off a piece. Still, his knight is not getting in. I think I can go for it. Okay, he can push, but then I make a passed pawn. But then he steps forward. I step over. Here, here. Then he would get a passed pawn. I think I need to play this. We make a passed pawn. Check. Here. This with check, and we go for this. You can also go for this, but then I trade it. 22 seconds. Force the knight trade. We get rid of this. He has to stay defending that. We scoot into the position. And then we just win the game. He could probably resign here. That was a tense moment. We're going to grab this. He can't defend this. We're going to grab this, and we're pushing this pawn. I mean, we don't want him grabbing that, so we're going to make a queen. I should have checked about these stalemates. I don't know what to do. Trade this. I mean... No! My heart is beating so fast. I hate chess. I absolutely hate chess. I have no excuse for this. No excuse. Skip to the end. I don't know how much time I had left here, but what I needed to do... It's just... When you have so many pawns, we trade this. Okay. Okay. How did I not pre-move this? Boom, boom. 2 moves away. And we're going to do a little check the accuracy. I mean, you can't win them all, but dude, I have no excuse. No excuse for that endgame there. Absolutely not. And essentially what won me the game was literally staying equal until this endgame. This move right here where I got an extra pawn, we just played a game of chess and just equally traded everything. Like if we look at this game of chess, it's like, let's see, we trade the knights equally, we trade the bishops equally. More moves. We trade the queens evenly, we trade the rooks evenly, we trade the rooks evenly. We trade the bishops evenly. And then finally, we rush in here and we trade the knights evenly. And what on earth am I doing losing this position? You can essentially pre-move like boom, 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 cut him off and checkmate. And how did I not do that? I should be able to absolutely do that. I'm so sad. But either way, I think that I played that probably like, I didn't make any blunders at all. I think probably like 95 or 96% accurate. I would have to assume. So we're going to check it with the computer. I will see you over there. And here we are in the analysis. And I am absolutely horrible at chess. I had 17 seconds to win that endgame. And if we just get rid of this, we can watch it in real time and just see. Where do we do this? Real time. Like, bro, what am I doing? What am I doing? He's pre-moving, of course. This is a little complicated because, like, how do I move forward? So we scoot the king over. We push the pawn. We now are cutting him off. And, bro, these last pre-moves. Bring the king, bro. What am I doing? Pre-move that. Okay. Pre-move that. Pre-move that. I don't know how I didn't do that. That sucks so bad. Chess is horrible. I should have played with 1 second increment. But, or just played faster. I don't know how I threw that away. 9 inaccuracies by our opponent. 1 mistake, 2 blunders, 87% accurate. The graph shows a tale of I knew what I was doing, essentially. And I played 91% accurate. So I said I played a little bit more accurate than I thought. The reason is because I played a blunder that threw it away to a draw, but it was a very difficult draw for our opponent to find. So it makes sense that that's a blunder. And then even the other blunder was not that bad. I'm still winning after the first blunder. So let's fly back to the beginning. And so like I said, in this opening, you have to be gosh darn sure that you are going to be active. And so if we check the computer here, I'm just going to develop my pieces. Okay. Okay. I potentially like this better or attack my piece, but what I was trying to say is he didn't get super active with his pieces. So now he's just slightly losing. Like, yes, he has a lot of pieces developed. He's castled way before me, but he doesn't have an attack. Like, he doesn't have a great way to put any of his pieces on my side of the board. He can't move this knight because the queen. And if he does anything else, I'm pretty much just going to take. Like, and I don't, anything that comes to my side of the board, I will immediately exterminate it. And so we castle a blunder by me, or an inaccuracy, another inaccuracy, but for the sake of trading off pieces, we scoot the bishops back, trade, get the bishop involved, line up the rook on the rook, so we got this open file held down. If anything bad happens, essentially, we're just going to trade off at any point. And so he's just a minus 1.4 for our opponent. And that's simply because he gave up the pawn. Like, we are playing a completely even, equal game, but I have one of these extra pawns. So I know, essentially, if I just trade everything off, I'm going to be able to win the endgame or lose on time. Now, this is my blunder. The whole idea of scooting my queen back to get active was the correct idea. And I changed plans because his queen got a little active. I'm supposed to ignore it. Just ignore it and just allow him to take. That's quite scary. So I go ahead and do this because I liked the idea of trading off the queens, and I felt that I was going to be able to win that endgame if this were to happen. If all this were to happen, he's still a -1 advantage, essentially, but I felt like I was going to be able to win this. So that's what I was going for. So yes, it weakens my king, but whatever. We scoot the king up and then make a couple pawn moves, and eventually I find the correct move where I still have an exactly +1 advantage for me, or -1 for him, however you want to look at it. We trade the queens, the knight steps back, we trade a rook, and we're just going into a more or less even game. Now this, I could have just pinned the knight, which makes sense. Then you'd have to bring the king, but I would be able to bring my king, avoiding these checks. So I'd probably come here and then move my knight and then scoot in like this, away from the knight checks. And yeah, I didn't see it. So I pushed here. I figured he would jump in and attack, and then I would push forward or something like that. We've got a nice little structure over here, and we start bringing the king. We get hit with a check. We evenly trade the bishops. And this was the draw for our opponent that he needed to see, because he can give this up if I trade, okay? It's somewhere in this position. What looks scary is maybe I'll be able to like do some stuff on this side of the board, but essentially my king is never going to get in on this side of the board, and his king is closer to assisting over here. So any nonsense that happens with these pawns on this side of the board, his king is just way faster to assist in all of it. And even if, let's just make some moves, even if I'm to play this, trying to have a pawn break and get through, because my pawns are doubled, he doesn't have to take. If he takes, then I'm completely winning. If you see, actually, he's winning this position now because his king is going to get in. And forget about this side of the board. I was just making moves. Essentially, if I try and do this, he doesn't have to take. And if I take back, his pawn will just recapture. And we have the same exact situation where my king can never get in no matter what I do. None of, like, this whole line is blocked by either he is attacking it or my pawns are blocking it. Maybe that's an easier way to show it. So We scoot back. We trade the stuff off. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going for this pawn break, and I'm completely winning now. What he needed to realize is he didn't need to take. He can jump forward with the knight. This is the exact position that happened in the game. He could jump forward, and everything that I just showed. Like, if I take, he just takes with the pawn, and it cuts off these 2 squares, and I'm never getting in. I'm never getting in. He didn't see it, and he did take. Now I can make a passed pawn. So we bring the king. We make the passed pawn. We bring the knight. We get in here with check, and now I'm just completely winning. I could have taken a pawn as well, but I think it's better to just get rid of his last active piece with 20 seconds on the clock. We step in. I think I even could have, like, potentially tried to... Am I stupid? He's got to make a move. Okay, so he's in Zook Swan, and he would have to go over here. So I could have just invested in this passed pawn. Why did I sacrifice it? I took forever to analyze that. I basically figured that I don't know my king and pawn endgames, and I thought that this was unstoppable. So the difference with that is he's still got pawns left on the board. So I forgot that if he has legal moves in the position, this will turn into a queen. Or I will turn something else into a queen. So I think that was the difference. We take, and we push. And it's like, bro, I had 13 seconds on the clock. Why am I taking 1 second to move? I was worried about some stalemates here. Okay, we step away. We're trading off his last piece. And bro, 4 seconds. What did I spend? I spent like 2 seconds on each move here. 2 seconds on each move. I was just so scared of my pawns cutting off so many. The king is like restricted, and I was worried about that. So rough. So rough. And then even here, I could have done it faster and realized we've got unstoppable checkmate coming in. But you know what? It's easier to do this type of checkmate for me. I'm so sad. 1 second on the clock. Should have pre-moved this 1,000 times. For one, king closer. Why am I moving here? My next move is to scoot over anyway. It's hard to watch. It's hard to look at. That was a 8-minute analysis. I hope we grabbed everything from it. Dude sacrificed a pawn in the opening and did not attack me. Basically, if you're down a pawn like that, you gotta attack. And so if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a reasonable amount of time. And then hopefully I will get some better games in the future. I should not be losing on time. At least it was a draw, but it feels like a loss. That was more of a loss than just a downright losing a game. So either way, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time.